Hello, this is wmpyr here to talk about my no edit Heaven6 video, and also recently I put up a video with a double machete, which is very similar to this video. So first, let's have a quick look. So this is what I'm doing. The base technique, the core technique that I am using is the Heaven6, without a doubt. All right, so for this video where I'm using double knives, and then in the machete video where I'm using double machete, both of those I am using the Heaven6. Of course, it's free flow. There's variations, and I'm doing what I want and changing it up big time. But core mechanics, 100% without a doubt, is the Heaven6 technique. So what I'm doing here is, this video is basically a test. It's a test video, and it is a test not in a sense that I didn't know what the results were going to be. It is a test because there is a real danger, and it is challenging. There's a real danger because the double machete and the double knives I'm using, they're real. They can cut. They're sharp. So that's why it's dangerous. And the other reason is because it's challenging cardio-wise. So I made sure in either one of those videos that it was going to be a minimum of 3 minutes, at least one round in boxing. Why? Because in real life, a real life self-defense situation, your adrenaline's going to be pumping, your heart's going to be beating really fast. So even though I'm not going to be fighting like this necessarily, where I'm just going nonstop for 3 minutes, the entire round, in a real life self-defense situation, where hopefully I get to be more observant, I get to be, even if there is violence involved, I can move around and I could run if needed to. But guess what? Even running, you got to be fit. It takes cardio. It takes energy to do all that in a violent real life encounter. So you need to be fit. And that's why a minimum of one round where I'm testing my cardio. I'd like to be able to do 3 rounds. So really, this is not bragging or trying to show off. Like I said, this is a minimum in my opinion. So the other thing is, there's a lot of dangers going on here. So first, I'd like to shed some light about what exactly are the dangers. Now, like I said to you guys, I'm using live blades, right? Therefore, the blade edge, because the tire is so hard, it can actually chip off and it flies. And if that flies into your eye, obviously that's going to be very, very bad. So you got to make sure to wear some kind of eye protection. And if your mouth is wide open because you're huffing and puffing and your cardio is bad, you might accidentally swallow a piece that goes into your mouth. So you don't want your mouth to be wide open either. So that's danger number 1. The other thing is, because they're live blades, I could easily chop up my arms and my hands. And because I'm crossing my arms and doing the Heaven6 motion, I could easily cut myself. And even though this is a hard tire, it is still rubber. So sometimes, depending on the hit, the angle, I feel a motion where it bounces back. And if it bounces back and it hits me in the head, I could cut my own head. So I have to control that. And so when it bounces off, you feel that wildness go out of control. So you got to make sure you're in control at all times. And the other thing is, when I'm doing follow-through motions, my thighs and my knees are in danger. When you do a full follow-through, you can cut yourself on your legs. So that's another thing that I need to control. And when you are going with this much speed and force, it may not look like a lot, but if I went all out, I won't last this long for sure. So I am pacing myself without a doubt, but at the same time, I want to make sure that I am going fast as I can and as powerful as I can at the same time while I'm pacing myself. I know that there has to be a balance. So to discover that balance is very difficult. Like I said, if I went all out, I'll be done in a couple of seconds. My stamina, my energy will be depleted. So I gotta know myself, and that's part of the training. That's part of the test. Is you have to know yourself. Okay, so like I said, a minimum of 3 minutes, and I'm going as fast and as powerful as I can, but not to the point where, because if you go too fast, you lose control as well. And then once again, it's a danger to yourself. And just by going with enough momentum here that I'm going fast enough that the knife wants to slip out of my hand. It wants to fly out. So I need to make sure now that my grip is solid, but solid in a way that if I'm just grabbing it really, really hard, I'm wasting energy, but also it's not technical. So I want to make sure that I'm using technique to grip the weapon. And when I am stabbing, for example, because the tire is so hard, it's very easy for my hand to slip forward and grab onto the blade. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen. So therefore, I am using technique to grip. So I have to think about all of that. And then on top of that, I don't want to be using the same pattern. So that's where the variations come in. So even though Heaven6 is the base, I don't want to just be doing Heaven6 and hitting the same spot over and over. I want to change it up, because in real life, if you don't change it up, it's going to become predictable. If it's predictable, they'll be able to find a way to overcome it. So I need to change it up, keep them guessing, keep them confused. So now I have to think of variations. I got to change things up. I got to change how I'm attacking, and that also comes with the footwork. So I'm using different kinds of footwork to help me achieve those things. So there's a lot that's going on, in other words. There is a lot of technical stuff that's happening, and even though it's Heaven6, at the end of the day, this is just Heaven6. But I want people to see that it can be very, very deep. It can be very, very technical, and for me, that's extremely challenging, and that's very, very fun. And I feel it's very unfortunate because as far as Heaven6 goes, it's arm waving, no matter what you call it. It's a type of arm waving. Everybody that does Filipino martial arts, everyone knows the Heaven6, or at least some form of it. Everybody, without exception. Okay, if you don't know it, then you're in the process of learning it. You will learn it. Okay, so if you're a Filipino martial arts person, you know the Heaven6. However, I feel like people have forgotten just how amazing the Heaven6 is, how amazing, how brutal, how violent, how effective this move is. And through this video, I'm hoping I could shed some light and show you guys that this is a wonderful, wonderful, superb, and amazing move that is so violent. It's an incredible move, and to help people appreciate what you already know and view it differently. And the other sad thing is, like I said, everybody knows the Heaven6. However, not everybody could use it in a real life self-defense situation. And why? Why is that? Well, it's because when you learn it in class, and then you get to the point where you're doing it with a partner and you're doing variations, and then from there you're using it as a generator and you're practicing disarms, and you're doing all kinds of stuff with it. Okay. Or a lot of times they learn it, they do stuff with it, and then they move on. They kind of forget about it. Well, that is the educational department. Okay, you are learning the move. And what that means in a nutshell is you are making a weapon. The weapon is called the Heaven6. and you are building the weapon there in that phase, at that level. You know, it's a very important level because you want to make sure you take the time and not rush production and make a very, very good quality weapon. So you want to make sure that your Heaven 6 is quality. If you rush production and go, okay, now I want to just use it in a real life self-defense situation. If you rush that process, you have a crappy Heaven 6 and you want to use it in real life, obviously it's not going to be as good. I think anyone can understand. You want to make sure you build a good, excellent weapon. So that's the building phase, which is very important, okay? So take the time and build it properly. But just because you build a good weapon doesn't mean you know how to use it, because building and using it is two totally different things. And I think most people, they build it and that's it. And they think building it means that they can already use it, and it's not. It's totally different. All right, so I want people to understand education versus application. That's what I'm talking about. Knowledge versus applied knowledge. All right, so building the weapon versus now learning how to use the weapon. So in order to use the weapon, what I like to call it is combat ready. So is your Heaven 6 combat ready? And the sad thing is, most Filipino martial arts practitioners, I don't think their Heaven 6 is combat ready. What do you need to do to make it combat ready? Or should I ask these people, I can ask everyone, what have you done to make your Heaven 6 combat ready? And what that involves is, A, you got to be fit. You know, so you have to have fitness training. So that's why I'm doing the minimum of 3 minutes. Okay. The other thing is you want to work your way towards live blade. Of course, I don't recommend, please don't copy this. You know, please don't take this as a challenge and go, well, wmpyr did it, I'm going to take the challenge too. If he can do it, I can do it. Yes, I 100% believe if I can do it, I'm nothing special. You guys could do it too. But when I did this, even though this is a test, I was 100% confident that I could do this without injuring myself. Why? Because of the daily work I put in. The daily work lets me know I'm ready to do this. So when I'm working with the sticks, and if I hit my hands, I keep hitting my arms, I keep hitting my hands, or the sticks keep clashing each other, I'm not ready for it. So, you know, those are the kinds of hints that let you know, are you ready for this? Have you earned your way? Have you put in the work? So that's all it's about. If you put in the discipline and the time, then anybody can do this, really, anybody. But if you don't, then you're doing the test blind. It's like just out of the blue, you're taking the SAT test. Of course you're going to do bad, probably, right? Of course. So you want to make sure that you prepare yourself for combat readiness, okay? So the combat ready training, the first thing that I recommend is do the blender. What is the blender? The blender is basically just high speed, violent, relentless move. So you're just going, you know, repeat it relentlessly at high speeds. So you could do the Heaven 6, and lots of people do the Heaven 6, right? But then you do it like a blender. Then you're going to see that you lose control. Then you're going to see you can only last a few seconds. If you do the blender properly, you can only last a few seconds because it eats up your stamina like crazy. So when you do blender training, you will hit the sticks, they will clash, you will hit your own hands. And then from there, it's a long process of controlling that. Learning how to control and make sure that doesn't happen. So that's the first step, is to do blender training. I remember with a buddy of mine that I was just talking to this morning, early in the morning, and from last night as well. He's in the military, and he was teaching on base a bunch of soldiers, and I was there as invited as a guest to help out. And in the middle of it, we did a demonstration because he was showing them, he was explaining to them and teaching to them basically half of the Heaven 6, the 1, 2, 3, not the 4, 5, 6, but just the 1, 2, 3. And he was showing it to everybody, teaching that for Army combatives. And then to demonstrate how do you actually use it in real life, I came out and we did the Heaven 6 together with double sticks. So I had double sticks, he had double sticks, and we went, because of the adrenaline, there were lots of people watching. The pressure you feel, I think he felt it too. We went high speed to the point where we're losing control. Your heart's going, really rapid. And we were busting each other's fingers, but the adrenaline, you just keep going. And that kind of training, that's what you need to be able to do that kind of stuff, okay? So, of course, you can't do that all the time, and you got to be safe about it, but you got to experience that. And then you got to be able to conquer that to where you're not hurting each other, you're not hurting yourself. That's the most important thing, injury is the enemy, is the greatest enemy for any martial artist. So make sure that you don't get injured. So that is the kind of stuff that's needed for making your Heaven 6 combat ready. In a nutshell, what it is it's not just the physical and it's not just the technical, but there's also the mental aspect, which I'm starting to touch on in what I've been explaining to you guys, is that there needs to be mental pressure. So right here, what is the mental pressure that I'm going through? And or like when I helped demonstrate at the base many years ago when I did that, the mental pressure was doing it in front of all these soldiers that need this move. Who knows, a week from now they might be deployed and they might have to use it in a war zone to save their own life. So it's very serious, that kind of pressure, okay? That's extremely important to be able to handle that kind of pressure, to operate, to be able to still do the Heaven 6 under that kind of pressure. So right here, the danger of injuring myself, that's a tremendous amount of pressure. If I cut myself, and if I did, I'm recording this for you guys. In other words, for anyone to be able to see. And that is a tremendous amount of pressure as well. If I screw up and you see me cut my arms, or even if I go, you know what, I can't show that to people, I messed up, I cut myself. In the next video, you guys are going to see me with these weird scars on my arms. That doesn't look good either. So, there was pressure. I don't want to screw up. I can't mess up, in other words. Not even a little bit. I don't want my knuckles or my fingers to be cut up. This can be very, very bad. So this kind of pressure to not mess up is equivalent. It's not the same, but it's definitely mimics the kind of pressure that you will be feeling in a real life situation. So at the end of the day, this is all simulation. It's not real, obviously, but we need to go through enough of these simulations so that we become combat ready. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. And, once again, it's not you do one thing and all of a sudden you're combat ready. No. You're doing a lot of steps. It takes a lot of steps, and all you can do is try to increase your skill, increase your abilities to the best as possible, and then the rest is, let the chips fall where they may. And that was one of the other things that I was trying to do here, is to just shut up and show you guys. That's a problem we have on YouTube, is that a lot of martial arts people tend to kind of like talk too much. And I'm definitely guilty of that. So this was one of the videos where I said to myself, you know what, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and just do this so you guys could just see. And at the end of the day, I could try to explain to you guys what my Filipino martial arts is all about. But I think a video like this is much quicker and easier for you guys to understand. You watch this and you go, oh, that's what this guy's trying to show us. That's what he's teaching us. Okay, I get it. That's what this is for, kind of thing. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. That's it for now. Thank you for viewing, and take care, folks.